All right, here is another algebra or linear equation sort of problem. Gia's family decides to rent a hall for a party. Pin Hall charges 500, so this is a flat fee, right? This is a flat fee, meaning that it's gonna be always $500, right? No matter what the circumstances are, what type of variables are involved, you are always going to have to pay this $500, and this is for the hall itself. But there's also $15 per each meal. Now, this is a variable rate. This is a variable rate. And the reason why it's a variable rate is because it is dependent. It is dependent on the amount of meals you have. All right. And so for now, we're going to assign the variable M um, for meals, right? Just for the amount of meals. Now, Bloom Palace, which is another party hall, charges 350. So again, this is a flat flat rate. So they charge 350 for the hall, and then this is a variable rate of $18 per meal. Now write two expressions and then solve them. Okay. So let me first go ahead and write the two expressions to um, for each of these halls, right? So I'll use red for pin hall. All right. So red for pin hall. Let me just write pin hall. There we go. Okay, so for pin hall, you get 500. You have to pay $500. You have to pay $500. So it's either $500. Again, this is a flat rate, so it's just gonna stay there. And is secret code word for plus. So and is plus and 15 per meal. So let's add 15 and then let's add an M for meal. All right. So this is the expression to calculate the price of Pin Hall. Now for Bloom Palace, let's go ahead and use blue, contrasting colors. So Bloom Palace. Bloom uh, Palace. Okay. Oops. So Bloom Palace, you're gonna be charged 350. Again, this is, remember, our flat rate of 350. And then you're going to be adding that again, and remember, and is secret code word for plus, right? And you're gonna be charged $18. Oh my god, $18 per meal. All right. Now, what does it exactly? Okay, so first of all, we now have both of the expressions that we needed from both Pin Hall and Bloom Palace, which we're assuming that it means when it says two expressions, these two expressions come from Bloom Hall. I'm just gonna write Bloom and Pin Hall. I would imagine that, right? So, anyways, we have these two. And now, what does it exactly mean? Let me just backtrack here. What does it exactly mean by writing two expressions and then solving them? What does this mean? Well, it means that you're going to take these two expressions that we've made and you're going to make it into an equation. So this is how. You'd put 500, right, plus 15m, which equals 350 plus 18m. All right. So this is what it means by solving these two equations, right? Because it's telling us, or expressions, sorry, because it's telling us to write these two expressions, but then it's saying to solve them. In the sense of them, it probably means most likely the expressions because that's what it just referenced, right? So when it's saying write two expressions and then solve them, that them it's talking about or referencing to is expressions, is the expressions. So here it is, right? 500 plus 15m and then 350 plus 18m. And again, m is just the variable I'm using for oops, for meals, right? Number of meals. And so now that we have this expression, let's go ahead and solve it. So first things first, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move the different terms. So the terms that we have are coefficients with m, right? So that would be these two, and then we just have a regular terms with like nothing, like they just don't have any variables attached to them, right? So let's move this. Let's start off with the regulars. So what I'm gonna do is 500 plus 15m, which equals, again, I'm just rewriting the equation. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and subtract. Do I want to subtract? Yeah, let's subtract. Okay. All right, let's actually subtract this. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to subtract 15m. And then since I did that, I have to subtract it here. And this way, this cancels out. So we just have 500, which equals 350 plus 18m minus 15m. And then let's go ahead and subtract this by 350. So then we're left with 5. That is an ugly 5. So then we're left with 500 minus 350, which equals 18, which equals 18m minus 15m, right? And so then what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go ahead and subtract this end. So what we have is we have 500 minus 350. That's 150. And then 18m, so 18 minus 15, that's 3, so 3m. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to divide this by 3, divide this by 3, or actually we should do that in the next step. So I'm going to rewrite this. That way it's just easier for like a teacher or anyone evaluating your work to just see the different steps that are taken. So then again, I'm going to divide this by 3, divide this by 3. This cancels out, and we're left with m, and then 150 divided by 3, which is 50. And that makes sense because you can't have half a meal. So if this was a decimal, I would be concerned. But there we have it. So therefore, after I did all of that work, the final answer would be 50 meals. Now, when I say 50 meals, what do I mean? Like, what does this number represent? Well, this number represents, in an essence, this represents the amount of meals that it would require for the price, right? I'm just going to draw money, for the price to be same. To be same between Bloom Palace and Pin Hall. All right. Basically, how we modeled this expression was we put the price, right, the mathematical model for the price of Pin Hall and Bloom Palace, and then we put an equal sign. So therefore, whatever we got back, whatever computation we got back for meals in our case, because we were isolating for meals, right? Sorry, it's not that. It would be here. It would be this bit. Or actually, sorry, it would be this bit over here. But anyways, the point I'm trying to say is that this represents the amount of money it would cost to rent Pinhall, and then this would be how much it would cost to rent Bloom Palace. And once we simplify this, right, because all we said here is that the price of Pinhall equals, it's the same to the price of Bloom Palace. And so then at the end of here, when we isolated for m, remember m is just number of meals, right? We got 50, so that means for the price between Pinhall and Bloom Palace to be the same, you would need to order 50 meals. All right? Okay. All right, so that's it from me. This was more about linear relations and algebra. But yeah,